My boys don't need to change, society does. Imagine being 20 years old, giving birth to your first child, a beautiful baby boy, curly hair, rosy red cheeks, absolute perfection. It feels good, right? Imagine after 18 months being told that he's autistic. Imagine at 21 years old, a single mum having a second perfect, beautiful baby boy, the image of his big brother, to be told after nearly 2 years that he is also autistic. 2 gifts with their 2 gifts. How common is it to have 2 autistic children? Based on a recent study by the American Academy of Pediatrics, approximately 10% of families will have more than 1 child with diagnosed ASD. Now imagine how you would feel when you read from research that the average life expectancy for these 2 beautiful boys is only 36 years of age. Just how would that feel? Imagine the horror when you read on to find out that this is because of what society imposes upon them both. How they have to suppress themselves so much just to fit in. This needs to change, and it will change. Hi, I'm Amy Doherty, and welcome to my TED Talk. Those 2 beautiful boys, they are my beautiful boys, Mason and Noah. All of what I just talked about, that is my life. I am part of that 10%. I'm here today, standing on this red dot for my sons. My boys don't need to change, society does. We can't start a fire without a spark, so today I am that spark. Let's go back to February 2017, the 17th to be exact. I had just turned 20 the week before, and now I was in hospital being handed the greatest gift of my life, my first son, Mason. A curly-haired bundle of pure perfection. His dad and I were overjoyed, completely in love, and completely over the moon. Being a mum was definitely my calling. The months passed, and Mason continued to grow. All was well up until he was around 18 months old. I noticed Mason's lack of speech. Mason didn't try to say mama or dada. He was silent while inside I was screaming. Every day was a battle of willing him to say something, anything. But no words ever came. I was internally crumbling. I did what any other parent is told not to do and Googled my concerns, obviously. Autism was the constant word that kept reappearing. Mason was ticking a lot of the boxes. Mason lined up any object in the house he could find. He colour-coded the baubles from our Christmas tree, and I remember being mesmerised by what he was doing. In fact, so much so, I even went to get my mum to show her exactly what he was up to. He used to spin around and around, sometimes for an hour, and he loved routine. From a young age, I had to explain our plans day to day in advance to Mason. Otherwise, he would most definitely fall out with me. I voiced my concerns to my health visitor, who quickly referred him to where he needed to be. Mason went to speech and language therapy, but didn't partake in any activity. Getting Mason's attention for long periods of time can be difficult, so the speech therapist definitely had her work cut out for her. A couple of months before Mason's 2nd birthday, he began to talk, completely on his own. His first words were colours, but not just your standard blue or red. No, Mason was saying things like cyan and burgundy. How did he even know this was beyond me? Mason started talking from that point on and has never stopped since. He's constantly telling me facts about Microsoft Windows or when the first drive-thru was invented. Mason taught himself to read soon after his 2nd birthday. Mason taught himself Spanish before he turned 3. He taught himself to play songs such as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on his keyboard, and one day we were driving past a transmission tower and out of the blue he says, "Look, Mummy, it's the Eiffel Tower." That's just a brief insight into his wonderful mind. Mind-blowing, right? Mason was officially diagnosed with ASD in November 2019. For a moment, time froze. I cried a lot of tears with the doctors, not because I was ashamed or anything of the sort, because I was afraid of the world that we live in and what exactly that would mean for my son. Mason is the most innocent, selfless, loving little boy who thinks that a stranger he meets in the street is his absolute best friend forever. As his mother, I worried about things like education, his relationships outside of our family, and even silly things like, would he ever become a father himself? In November of 2017, the 13th to be exact, I had just been blessed with another son, my beautiful Noah. Throughout my pregnancy with my second son, the boy's dad and I ended our relationship, so I was now facing this motherhood thing on my own. Scary, but I was determined. Noah was the image of his big brother. He was a smiley baby who loved to dance and was always giggling. Noah worried me a lot quicker than Mason did when it came to milestones. Noah didn't ever wave, he didn't point, and he never spoke. Again, I went to my health visitor, and Noah has also been referred to where he needs to be. However, with COVID, things have not been moving as quickly as they did with his older brother, and he is still yet to receive his ASD diagnosis professionally. But being here before, I know in my heart, without an official piece of paper, that Noah is also autistic. People say that having a non-verbal child means you never know what they are thinking or feeling. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I know just by looking at Noah's eyes when he feels anxious, upset, or if he's happy. Those big bright eyes tell me absolutely everything I need to know and more. After all, our eyes are the windows to our souls, and this is most definitely the case with Noah. We still communicate this way because at this present moment in time, Noah isn't able to have a conversation or explain what he wants to me verbally. But as I stand on this red dot today, he has started to try and communicate with words and loves nothing more than singing his alphabet on repeat. He is so proud of himself each and every time that my heart could burst. People used to say that Noah would never talk, yet now he's singing. I always knew that Noah would talk, that he would do it whenever he was ready. Imagine a world where you have to time picking your son up from nursery to be the last parent in the queue because his nursery teacher is constantly telling you that he is disrupting the class. Imagine a world where your son's nursery teacher asks that he be picked up 1 hour after you drop him off. Yes, 1 hour. Imagine your son coming home from school and telling you that no one wanted to play with him today and how that makes him feel upset. Well, I don't have to imagine it because it happened to us. Mason wasn't treated equally. Mason was treated like an outsider. Oh, your son is different. We just don't know what to do with him. You're right, my son is different in the most beautiful of ways. What if teachers were trained to accept children for who they are? To embrace their gift? What if teachers had empathy? Let's fight for a world where this becomes the new normal. Let's not accept 1 hour sessions or remarks about our child. Let's fight for all of our children's rights. Each child is beautiful in their own way, and each child should be included. Imagine going into a supermarket, your autistic child having a meltdown due to the noise of the crowds. Imagine other shoppers staring, whispering, shaking their heads and giving dirty looks in your direction. Again, I don't have to imagine that. It happens to me all the time. I have had people judge me because I'm a young mum and I should be able to control my child. I've had people judge me because I must be a bad parent, otherwise my child wouldn't misbehave. What if people took a step back, and instead of a dirty look, how about a reassuring smile? How about for 1 minute thinking, I don't know what's going on there. I don't walk that path. When my son is having a meltdown, he isn't misbehaving. He is having sensory overload. Give him some space, accept him, encourage him. Shops should all have autism-friendly times. All shops. Instead, it's a case of this being a big deal if a shop has it in place. This shouldn't be the case. It should become the norm. Do you see how the world is? It's not made for boys like mine. Judgment is constant. Imagine a world where autism was accepted without any negative connotations. Society expects people with ASD to suppress who they are just in order to fit into their world. But what about just accepting their gifts? The likes of Albert Einstein Isaac Newton, Thomas Jefferson, Andy Warhol, Lewis Carroll, and Mozart were all said to be autistic. And only just recently, Elon Musk. Well, just imagine we as a society suppress these brilliant minds. We need to start embracing the gift of autism. My sons shouldn't have to reach their 36th birthday and think, I've made it. The biggest cause of death in autistic people is depression. Why? Because they feel so exhausted and so not worthy of day-to-day life because of what society tells them to do. Well, I'm here to tell any autistic person listening to this speech, including my 2 sons, don't fit in, stand out. Be who you are, because your gifts are worth sharing with the world. And I also say this, I'm so sorry that we are still living in a world where this is still an issue. But I will fight for the rest of my life to help make a change. Please, if you're listening, join me in this fight. I want a world where I can grow old with my 2 sons. I want a world where people with ASD are treated just like everyone else. Instead of being so quick to judge, as a society, we should be quicker to help, spread love and treat people with kindness. Mason and Noah, thank you for choosing me to be your mummy. Thank you both for teaching me to look at the world through your eyes, and even a few bits of Spanish here and there. You have both taught me so much and are the absolute loves of my life. What could you do today to be part of that change?